Alright you guys, here we are at the junk again. Let's go get some Audi parts. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe this wasn't a good idea when it's 100 and balls out, but we're gonna do it anyway. Well guys, the junk was a bust. So the two Audis that are over there are previous generation, sort of. They're like those weird crossover in between ones. So either we have an 8.5 or at least we have an 8.5 front end, but none of the parts at the junk were compatible. There's no crossover, no nothing, so that was a waste. But I'm not a quitter. We don't give up. I'm gonna keep looking. Stay tuned. All right, guys. Junk was a bust, but we're not a quitter. So we're gonna get some stuff done on this car, and we're gonna see if we can start it. Here we go. Here's the problem. Battery was dead, so we're using the wife's Passat to jump the jumper cables over to here to put some charge in the battery so we can get started. So, fingers crossed. Wish me luck. Alright, she runs, but she's not happy. Let me get the scanner. We'll see if there's any codes. Alright guys, we got 12 codes. Look at that. Oxygen sensor, crank position relative to cam position, idle air control, multiple misfire, 1, 3, 4, 2 lean at idle, intake position timing over advance. That could explain the lean condition and that weird idle that I got going on. Idle air control system revs lower. If your intake timing is off, that would explain it. Multiple misfire. Alright, looks like we gotta dig through and figure out how to fix these codes. And we're leaking engine oil from somewhere on the driver's side. Oh boy. Alright boys and girls, through the miracles of the modern internet, our parts have arrived. So, we got a new control valve, goes inside here. So I think the easiest way is going to be to pull this off. This is the electromagnet. Pull this off, even though this hardware is going to be tough to get to, and there's a safety clip on this one. So we'll get this off, get this cover off, which again, I got 2 bolts clear down in here that are going to be a royal pain to get to, but I think once those are out of the way, take this cover off and I'll be able to get to that valve in this little bit of space that I got here. Maybe I'll try it once I have this off and not take that cover, but we'll see. One thing at a time. Let's get to this, see if that fixes our issues. Speaking of issues, so I checked all those codes. The majority of them lead to basically three things. One, that solenoid. So if that solenoid isn't reacting, the cam's not going to be in the right position. It's not like a whole tooth off, but it's enough that there's a mistake in the correlation between the intake camshaft and the crankshaft. So small, but makes a difference. So most likely it's that control valve that I'm about to put in. Second thing is my oxygen sensor. And I think if you go back and look at the video real close, when I was trying to take that out of there, I hung up, or I dropped it and caught it with the wire from the oxygen sensor. So there's a real good chance I busted the wires. It is what it is. I'll put a new oxygen sensor in it. My bad. The third thing that was causing it is likely a vacuum leak. So commonly on this one, it happens at or around the PCV. So everybody unhooks the PCV hose, plug it off, see if it works. If that clears the code, then you know it's either the hose or the PCV, and you can troubleshoot from there. I'm also going to try and troubleshoot the PCV and make sure that it's functioning properly before I go digging into a bunch of stuff. Because if it is just the PCV, then I guess we're buying a new one of those. So let's get after this. Alright guys, so a couple of things. See the timing mark? See the timing mark? I know the chain's not going to line up except once every like 200 revolutions or something crazy like that. But the timing marks are in the right place if it's at top dead center. Okay, so that's good. Here's my old valve, focus. Right? Looks pretty good. Moves freely. So I don't know if that was even the problem, but here's the new one. So first off, I'm questioning because this is already farther in, right? So side by side, let me turn this one. They look the same, except for that button sticks out farther. So I double checked, right? This part number, 06H109257C. Same part number. So why is this one poking out so far and this one is not? And what does that mean? I don't know. The other thing I discovered is that the torque I had on the old one is not even close to the torque that's supposed to be on it. It's supposed to be like 25 foot-pounds, 26, or 300 inch-pounds, according to the Audi technical information. When I Googled it on the internet, it gives you a completely different value for this. So I'm going with the Audi manual. I'm going to put the new one in, but I'm hanging on to the old one. I'm going to keep it safe because I may switch back if that button is wrong. So let's get it in there, torque it to 26 foot-pounds. Alright guys, I went to go check and see if we could start it up. We got a dead battery again. Guess I'm gonna have to go get the battery charger. Alright guys, she's been on the charger, so let's fire it up, see how she runs. Well, it's already looking better. I did not bring the scanner with, so we're just gonna see how it runs. The idle's almost worse. Alright guys, guess what? We got about 300 bucks worth of parts, but it doesn't look like it. In this little box, we have whatever this is, the Batmic cam adjuster, we got a vacuum pump rebuild, we got a PCV rebuild, we have this cam position sensor, and then we've got the transmission filter. That's the thing that's leaking underneath. That thing. So that'll be fun. We'll get to that. First, I'm gonna do this. All right, that was too easy. Now we're gonna take on this. So we'll get this cover popped off. We'll get a new diaphragm in there. I'm gonna go ahead and do it because it's just a good idea to have it done. Then we'll start this thing up. We'll see if any of those codes clear, see if it runs any better. If we got a nasty vacuum leak and our thing doesn't know where the cam is at, that would explain why our idle's all functified and why it just isn't behaving. So those two things first. If that doesn't fix it, I've got a new magnet for the cam. We'll pop that bad boy in there and we'll see what happens. All right guys, 5 seconds for you and that bad boy is in. Here's the old one. Mr. Crusty Dusty over here. There's no diaphragm left in that thing. But if you look, you think that could be part of our problem? You think that's where our vacuum leak's coming from? Nah. Alright, so I'm gonna throw these garbage parts away. I'm gonna go get the key. We're gonna try this Hummer again. Okay guys, so I don't pay very good attention. I just found these in the door. Look what we got. Cam position sensor, crank position sensor. I wonder if there was a problem before it threw the timing chain. I don't know, we're gonna find out. All right, here we go. All right, so our idle is vastly improved. Still feels a little bit off. Let's check the codes. Now I have 9 codes. Oxygen sensor, idle air control, multiple misfires, idle air control. All right. Let's try the magnet. So this is of interesting note. It only goes in there one way because the connector is D-shaped. But this one doesn't have a lock on the back side. I'm also not super keen on it being freaking plastic, but we'll try it. Here we go. Still runs like dog shit. Alright guys, So we fixed this. I need to check this hose real quick. We cleaned the throttle body. That looked good. We cleaned this intake air temperature sensor just in case that was an issue. Trying to think of what else might relate to a lean condition before I dig into this. So I have the stuff. I can rebuild the vacuum pump. Several folks have said vacuum pump relates to the lean condition. Makes sense. It's a vacuum leak. That would do it. I'm still fighting this intake cam positions thing. I'm gonna go back and check this one more time. We replaced the cam position sensor. The next thing I can think is to get this lined up and then see where this is at. It's possible that the gear and the cam got misaligned. It's possible. Rare, but it happens. The other thing I can look at is, again, we saw in the door they had a cam position sensor and a crank position sensor. It's possible that crank sensor is just garbage or sending the wrong signal or something. So that's the thing we can deal with. Unfortunately, that's it for our time. It's time to go cook some dinner, go to the gym, get some other stuff taken care of. So we will have to keep troubleshooting this Audi as we go. One good thing on this episode, we got her started. That was the goal. We made it that far. So it starts, it runs, not well, but it runs. We'll figure out these little issues and get this sucker sorted. Oh boy. Anyways, thanks everybody. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share on your socials. We made 275. Thank you all. Let's keep growing. See you guys soon.